What is up? What is up, YouTube? Do I need to look this up, y'all? Do I need to look this up? This ain't no fake news, right? Marvin Sapp. Look, Marvin Sapp arrested for scamming his church performing witchcraft. What? Now I think he might have been scamming his church, but I don't think he did no witchcraft. Marvin Sapp. Damn, man. Why y'all just can't praise the Lord? Why it always got to be all this money involved? TD Jakes with your cupcakes. Y'all hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, man. Let's check this bad boy out. Here we go, man.
Do y'all remember when Marvin Sapp told them to close the doors and held his congregation hostage for hours against their will? Child, it turns out that not only has he been manipulating folks into giving him all their money, but he is allegedly also indulging in some serious witchcraft. And that's why these people are still in his church after all the BS he puts them through. I mean, once that video went viral of him locking up his congregation and forcing them to give him their money, everyone and their mama called out the foolishness and accused him of being a fake, money-hungry pastor. But for some reason, the church members are locked out of reality and they still think he's gonna lead them to heaven. The foolery has gotten so bad that the FBI are now on his tail and they are investigating his finances down to the last detail. Not only is he out here embezzling the hell out of them folks, but he was also caught indulging in some serious fraudulent activities by making his members give out their social security in exchange for salvation into heaven. Marvin has been at this for a while, but he overdid himself a few weeks ago when a video went viral of him holding his church members hostage because they refused to raise $40,000. In the video, he was ordering the ushers to lock the door till every single person out of the 1,000 church members paid at least $20, including those who were watching online. But it wasn't just the church members who were getting ripped. The preachers he works with weren't spared from the scam either because he asked them to also donate $100 each. With the way he was talking, it really sounded like he was charging for the VIP section of a club instead of a church. Especially the time when he said it cost to be in the church. Why should it cost to be in the church? It's okay to take a few offerings here and there, but to lock people up in a building against their will because they didn't pay the $20 is crazy. A lot of people weren't here for this mess, not because he was asking for the donation, but because he was demanding money from already struggling folks who had already paid their offering. This $20 demand was an extra fee that he was charging them people. People called him out for using God to extort poor, impressionable folks and ripping them off their money so he can run off and live a lavish life with his family. One person reacted by saying, Marvin Sapp would be getting Marvin slapped if he held me hostage for money, when he could go in the studio and make my annual salary in a couple of months. That ain't the work of the Lord. Another person said, laughing my A off, Marvin Sapp ain't never been wrapped too tight, so I'm not surprised that he held that congregation hostage until they gave $40,000. Never would have paid it. The backlash got so bad that Marvin ended up posting a statement on Facebook where he defended his decision to hold his congregation hostage. He said the reason why people felt like he was holding his congregation hostage is because those people barely ever actually go to church and that they are unfamiliar with how the church works. He said it's a normal thing for pastors to ask for donations when the congregation meets and that this isn't something that would have been a problem if people actually went to church. He said, some have taken issue with a particular moment when I instructed the ushers rather firmly to close the doors during the offering, Sapp wrote. To those unfamiliar with the church
that ain't what you said. Now, see, that's where the bull come in at. I'm trying to tell y'all. Oh my God, where my man at? Oh my God, I don't never have him ready, man. Oh my gracious, let's keep going. Let's just keep going, man.
When the congregation meets, and that this isn't something that would have been a problem if people actually went to church. He said, some have taken issue with a particular moment when I instructed the ushers rather firmly to close the doors during the offering, Sapp wrote. To those unfamiliar with the church context or who may not regularly attend worship gatherings, this has been misinterpreted as holding people hostage as well as offensive. That was never my intent. He added, movement during this sacred exchange can be distracting and at times even risky. He said, my directive was not about control, it was about creating a safe, focused, and reverent environment for those choosing to give and for those handling the resources.
Everything that you sat here and said during the commercial break, I already knew. You don't have to explain that to me. I grew up in the church. And in your own way. In your own way. Let's start with the attacks that are on you in the depth on you and your family.
Well, let me just start.
Just whatever way you want to start.
Let me just start by saying first, Ricky, I thank you for this opportunity.
Yes, sir.
I thank you for the opportunity to be able to come on your show and for you to use your platform to give me a chance to just, add some context.
Yeah. Some
context and clarity to, a clip that, a whole lot of people have seen. Sadly, one of the things that has happened is, people have created a narrative that is absolutely not true. Number one, the narrative was created, excuse me, that I raised the money at my church, that I kept the people at my church hostage until I raised $40,000 for me. That's the narrative that has been shared, that I locked folks up in my church, that, I made them give $40,000 and I wouldn't allow them to leave until they gave it to me. And to be honest with you, that is absolutely false.
Yeah.
Number one, that offering was taken last year. This was a service that happened last August. Number two, it didn't happen at my local church. It actually happened at a national organization's international meeting where churches from all over the country, all over the world came together for the purpose of celebrating the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. People took issue with me saying, shut the doors. Understand, I never said lock the doors.
Yeah.
I said shut the doors. Shutting doors mean that people still have the ability to go in and out.
You said lock the doors.
They've taken issue with my tone. And I can honestly say,
man, I don't know.
Looking at the video,
you know what?
Maybe I was a little more assertive than I should have been. And I can apologize for that. I can apologize for that. But three things I need to make sure that people understood. Number one, the $40,000, if it was $40,000 that was raised, was never given to me. That money was raised for the purpose of taking care of the budget for their conference, not Marvin Sapp. Number two, it didn't happen at my church. It happened in Baltimore. Number three, people take issue with me being firm with the ushers. Anybody that goes to church, ushers one-on-one, that's the first thing they teach you as being an usher, is that there are 3 times you don't walk. You don't walk during the altar call. You don't walk during prayer. You don't walk during the offering. One of the reasons being is because of the sacredness of the moment.
A lot of people didn't believe Marvin at all because according to some members who were present when this happened, they claim that the whole reason he even demanded for the doors to be closed was because he saw some members leaving early and he wasn't about to lose money. The crazy thing is that Marvin wasn't the only pastor that tried to extort the congregation that day, because another one of the preachers at the same event actually tried to auction off God's blessing to the highest bidder. He wasn't just asking for $20. He was asking for $800 and he wanted it on the spot. He said this $800 was going to help them get blessings for their new beginnings in life. He then went on to demand an extra $500 because apparently God told him some people need closure, but for that to happen, they had to pay their way into getting that closure by giving up $500 of their money. And of course, if they didn't have it in cash, they were more than welcome to Venmo, Cash App, or Apple Pay it. Hell, they could even hit up their bank and wire transfer it. All modes of payments were accepted.
Nah, man, this is bull. Y'all gotta be making this up. Are you sure? You know what? I'm gonna bless you. I can give you a big blessing for $600. Man, I ain't got no $600. I'm gonna bless you then. Hey, I'm gonna bless you. You got $600? I'm giving out a blessing for $600. Uncle Mike is. Ain't nobody believing that. Are they believing that for real? Jesus. I'm in the wrong business, baby. That's why I don't go to church no more. But I was honest when I went to church. I told them I go to church because they pay me to play that guitar.
Then welcome to Venmo, Cash App, or Apple Pay it.
You should be going for the word. Yeah, you're probably right. But this is what I'm telling you. At least I ain't lying. What you coming here for? Because you think it's a daggone fashion show.
By giving up $500 of their money. And of course, if they didn't have it in cash, they were more than welcome to Venmo, Cash App, or Apple Pay it. Hell, they could even hit up their bank and wire transfer it. All modes of payments were accepted.
Here's what God told me. He said, there is a new beginning for some folks. So I wrote my check for $800. And the Lord told me challenge 12 people to bring $800. Any of you on the floor, you want to come, I want you to put it in my hand. I'm at 5, I need 7 more. There's one down here, Bishop Martin. So I need 4 more. So tonight when I began to ask the Lord, he said, tell the folks that want some closure on some situations. When they write their checks and when they give tonight, write closure. And he said, the same closure that I gave you, I'm going to give to them. There are 25 of you that will bring a check for $500 tonight.
It's almost as if these preachers had an agreement on an amount of money they had to get by the end of the service, and they weren't letting these folks leave till they hit that goal and over. Apparently, Marvin and his fellow preachers have been at this for a while, but this is the first time people outside of the church are getting to know what goes on inside of it. And that's the real and only reason he came out to put out that statement. And y'all noticed he didn't actually take accountability in his statement either. He defended his actions and blamed us for not being familiar with how the church works because we don't go to church. In fact, as he was demanding that $40K, he was actually wearing a Rolex. Marvin is currently the senior pastor at the Chosen Vessel Church in Texas, and according to some folks who live in the area, most of the people who attend the church are old people who mainly depend on their retirement checks to survive, and Marvin is getting most of it in his pockets by convincing them to give away a huge chunk of it to the church. Not only that, but some people are now also speculating that he used some form of witchcraft to keep the congregation in the church despite the obvious signs that he's just using them to get rich. Now, of course, there's no way to really confirm these witchcraft allegations since it's just rumors, but it's beginning to go viral. And people feel like it's the only thing that explains the loyalty his congregation has to him. As usual, people had their own thoughts, like this person who said, God is not telling the pastor to tell folks to give. God will speak to you directly and purpose you to give according to your heart. Another person said, this is why I don't go to church. They put this guilt trip on you if you cannot give what they are demanding during a love offering. Besides, there are way too many offerings for me. But now I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of Marvin getting exposed for extorting his congregation? And do y'all think the witchcraft allegations are true. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and don't forget to click here to watch this other messy video.
You got the messy videos. Very messy videos. Hey, you got the messy videos. Look here, man. I ain't know nothing about none of this stuff, man. I had to look it up. He was like, it's a lot of... They don't think he went to jail or he was arrested because of that. But he was arrested for something. He's keeping that on the hush-hush, but he was arrested for something. But anyway, hey, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Y'all got some facts. Y'all got more facts than I got. Please let me know in the comments below. Y'all take it light, take it slow. Tell them Uncle Mike told you so. Peace out.